Hey guys, it's Andy Ellis, and it's time for another packed episode of the Melodic Noise Insider Podcast. Today, I'm sharing a chat I had with Clover's daughter. In her short time on the scene, she's already made a name for herself with music that blurs genre lines. And in a rare feat for the podcast, we were able to fit in her debut full-length Am I Worth It? And just released EP, Fragile Feeling. We talked about her journey into music and went pretty deep into the creative process for each song. It was a great chat, and she is definitely an artist I'm excited to see evolve. So without further ado, here's your interview. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Melodic Noise Insider Podcast, Nor, also known as Clover's daughter. Thanks for doing this.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm glad we were finally able to set this up. I remember when your album kind of came across the Instagram algorithms. I'm like, Clover's daughter, that sounds cool. And this is a really good album. So I guess first question for you was before we kind of get into your background, where does the name Clover's daughter come from?
Yeah, I mean, Clover's daughter just kind of was an idea that I woke up with. I knew I didn't want to go by my name, my government name, and I wanted to kind of do something that was pretty authentic to me and my vision and my goal and my creative vision as well. And so Clover's daughter just kind of felt true and authentic to myself. I'm pretty superstitious, so clover, like the lucky four-leaf clover. So I kind of took that and then I paired it together with daughter, just kind of following the heritage of my family. I'm my parents' daughter, and it just kind of felt right. And I really loved that name, and it stuck with me, and I carried on with it. And now it's something that I love presenting myself as, and I will continue to present myself as.
And it's also very mysterious too. It kind of helps keep that mystique as well, which also your music does is a lot too.
Thank you. Yeah, I do think it kind of gives that mysterious vibe as well. It just kind of it speaks to my music and it speaks to who I am, and I feel like it's a perfect way to represent myself.
And so kind of, going back a little bit, I mean, are you from Minnesota?
I am not. So I'm actually originally Palestinian,
Okay.
and I moved to Minnesota in August. Big fan of the state, big fan of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities. I used to come here a lot for concerts when I was going to college in Wisconsin. And then I came a couple times here on tour and I just fell in love with it. And it just felt like a perfect music scene to be immersed in. And so I decided to pick myself up and move to the cities. And it has been the best decision for my music career. It's been really incredible to be here, be around such talented local musicians, and really fully immerse into the experience. And I mean, also, this is such an iconic city. You
Hmm.
have so many legends coming out of the city, so many names, and so many people that made the city what it is and made the local music scene so supportive. And I caught that initially as soon as I was here on tour. I was touring with an artist from the UK. Her name was Yola. And when
Oh,
I came here and I played First Avenue, and it was a really, really cool experience. And I was kind of nervous because it was a really big stage, really cool opportunity, but everyone here was so supportive. I was talking to so many people after the show, and it just seemed like a really cool place to be.
how did you get into music? Is it when were you around music as a kid, or how did that come about for you?
Yeah, ever since I was a little kid, I was just really gravitated towards music. I never was really around it growing up. None of my family or anyone in the family or friends were really musical at all, but something, I don't know, something within me always wanted noise around the house. And so I would run around banging on couches, pots and pans, trying to make some beats and trying to come up with some words. And then I had a little $20 kid guitar that I used to strum and just make up words to. And I was always in love with it. And my parents were very fascinated by the fact of me being so interested in it and put me in a lot of school productions. And growing up, as I continued to grow older, I just valued the idea of music and how it brings people together so much. And so I started performing a lot in open mics, and I eventually learned how to play the guitar and learned how to play the piano and other instruments and just kept going. And I just was so in love with it. It was the only thing that really spoke to me. And I just kept playing and kept performing and really tried to nail my craft. And then about a year ago is when I started Clover's Daughter. And I just knew I wanted to do something that's so true and authentic to myself. And something that really spoke to me, just how music always spoke to me as I was a little kid. And Clover's Daughter was born then, and it's been an incredible journey so far.
So who were your influences that you looked to when you were kind of starting your own journey as an artist?
Yeah, I am a big fan of Fleetwood Mac, big fan of Daft Punk, and this British artist, her name is Ray. I just
Yes, I
really
love
love
her.
these three artists. Yeah, Ray's incredible. I really love these three artists. I just think they do a really good job of storytelling and genre blending, which is something that I am extremely fascinated in and fully immerse myself in myself with my music. I'm not a big fan of boxing myself into a specific sound, and I like the flexibility to be able to create whatever I feel. And so these three artists, I feel, do a really good job of that. And so I heavily studied their music, heavily studied their backstories and how they came to be and their performance styles, and was really influenced by them.
Yeah, and when we do get into talking about your music, I mean, the way you blend in different genres is just seamless. It just works so well.
Thank you so much.
And I know you did talk about it earlier, but can you talk about your, entry into the music scene here in Minnesota? I mean, was it pretty easy to get involved? Were there obstacles for you?
Yeah, it was a pretty smooth journey, thankfully. Like I was saying earlier, I played a couple shows here when I was on tour. I played a show at First Ave with Yola, and then I came back a couple weeks later and was playing a show at the Dakota with this band called Darling Side. And so I got to kind of see both aspects of like a really big sold out show at First Avenue and then a more intimate seated vibe at the Dakota. And I was just really in love with it. And I really tried to make those connections with musicians that I was around because I had the thought of potentially moving here just from really like enjoying my stay and my experience in Minnesota. And so I really took the time to reach out to people before I moved here and scope out the music scene and get in contact with venues and local artists and local musicians and kind of make those connections. And so when I did move here, it was pretty seamless, which was really nice. I was really welcomed, which I am extremely grateful for. It was, and it still continues to be a really supportive community.
It is,
I
yeah.
mean, I've played music around the world, I've played music around the country, and I haven't been in a place that's as supportive as Minnesota. I mean, the audience members are so supportive. The fans are really invested in the art and really invested in me as a human being as well and my inspirations and my influences. And it has been a really cool journey to be a part of. And I'm extremely grateful for it. I feel like I haven't gotten that experience in other cities. And that just drives me to want to make more music and want to perform more here and call this place my home and really share the love of music with all the musicians in town and all the community members in town and really make a name for myself here.
So you did before you released Am I Worth It, you did release your first EP back in 2025, which in my mind I saw as more of a traditional singer-songwriter vibe in a sense, and there was this kind of shift to your what became your debut full length. Can you talk about that shift from that EP to Am I Worth It?
Yeah, of course. I think as a really young musician in the industry, and I'm not talking about my age, and I'm more talking about, my experience in
Mhm.
the industry. I really wanted the opportunity to just try new things. And so my first EP, Bittersweet, it's a 5-track EP, and it's near and dear to my heart because it was the first time I was really able to release the perfectionism in my songwriting and just really be able to speak my mind truly and pretty acoustically as well. And just really see what I have to say to the world. And so Bittersweet was a perfect example of that. And I think it was also really true to how I was feeling at the moment when I did write the EP. It just felt like a very honest, very raw kind of sound. And that's what I chased with that. And it felt right. And then when I was working on the album, after I released the EP, I realized that I have a lot more to offer. And I really wanted to play with quote unquote unconventional sounds and different production styles and different kinds of songwriting. And so I was really inspired by Daft Punk for this album specifically, and just really trying to create something unheard of and something that felt true to myself. And that switch was that moment. The first song that I created on the album was Win You Over, which is the first track of the album. And I was just in the studio with my co-creator and co-producer Naveed Fana. And we were honestly just jamming out. We didn't have an idea in mind. We didn't have a vision. We were just sitting there with our guitars, trying to come up with something pretty cool just to play around. And as soon as we came up with that riff, it really just sparked an idea of a whole concept album for me.
It's so catchy. That
Thank
that
you
that,
so
that
much.
opening riff, like that was like I look at my notes here, and it's just a it's a simple, catchy intro, and I mean it is like really, really catchy.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
and so and one thing like I noticed when I was listening to this album, because what I like about it is that it's you are able, and this isn't easy, you're able to like pack a lot into little. You're very efficient, but like you still feel like you still so like with like when you over it could be probably saying it as maybe like an intro to the album, but like it's its own thing. And then the end of the song, what I like about it is like it almost leads you right into the next song, almost like that second song is actually the next verse. But like, can you talk about, was sequencing something that you guys look at a lot when looking into this album?
100%. I mean, the track list and the decisions on where to place songs was really important to me. As a music lover myself, I love listening to full
Mm-hmm.
projects, full albums from top to bottom. And there's something really, really cool about putting on a project, hitting play, not touching your phone or your device, and just listening to it from top to bottom and hearing the story with the lyrics, but also feeling the production flow completely. And then like looking up and being like, oh, the album's done already. Like, I want more. Like, I'm so excited. And there's something really inspiring about that. So when I was working on this album, I was like, this is my first album. As a listener myself, I want to be able to hit play and just make sure everything seamlessly flows, everything makes sense, but also like it does not deter away from the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so while we were working on the project, we really made an effort to try to make everything flow as well as possible. So we were honestly down to the science of like trying to match keys, trying to match BPMs, or speeding up or slowing down BPMs towards the end or beginning of songs to kind of have that flow and kind of have it be one full song rather than a whole album, and just be able to listen to it top to bottom and feel it flowing without feeling like it's dragging. And so we really try to be extremely intentional with our choices, and even down to like the sounds, like trying to carry on like a sound from like the end of a song into an intro of a song, whether it continues on for the whole song or not, but just kind of playing around with that. And I'm really glad that you noticed that that kind of flows all well together, because that's something we really put time and effort into.
Now, one question I do have is when you look at your influences, are there any film composers at all? Because this really also could hear like a film. Like I mean, it's, if you have a short attention span, it's only like 25, 26 minutes, which is awesome. But like, it's still like, it's just the way it fits. It's like, it is this world that you create. I'm just like, do you have any like maybe classical or film composer type influences that you have?
Yeah, Hans Zimmer, I mean, he collaborates a lot with so many artists, and I feel like he really composes a cinematic feeling, and that's something I also feel like I carry throughout all of my projects. And funny you say that, is he actually just collaborated with one of my favorite artists and inspirations,
Ray.
Ray.
Yeah, yeah.
He
I just saw it
just
on the, yep.
yeah, it was a great, it kind of felt like a full circle moment to me of like two artists that I'm really inspired by coming together and creating something that you would think is unconventional, but really works and really flows. And also just my love for soundtracking in general. Like I'm not a really big movie person,
Okay.
but when I do watch movies and films, something about how the sound carries from the moment the film starts all the way to the end of the credits just tells its story itself. Like I could watch a film with my eyes closed, honestly, and just kind of hear it and still feel the story and still feel moved because of the way it's placed, because of the way it's sequenced, because of the timings of everything. And I really wanted to put that in my music as well.
So going to the next track, Irrelevant.
You're irrelevant, bathed in your arrogance. Don't think you're heaven sent. You just wear a crown to hide the power that you haven't got. Claiming your innocence, showing off your diligence. Play the role of the villainess. Only then you can pretend you wanna be good when you're not. Dangerous like a loaded gun. Self-righteous, you're a virus. My advice, just practice silence. Don't blame your guilty conscience. Acting foolish, you're irrelevant.
And I think this is the one where I got kind of it reminded me a little bit of Toxic by Britney Spears.
Ooh,
And
that's that. I've never gotten that before.
and so like it's just, lyrics like uh don't think you're heaven sent, you just wear the crown to hide the power you haven't got. It's the guitar solo after the second chorus is just, it's a really nice touch. I really like the string choruses as well. Can you talk about more about this song?
Yeah, this song was the first song I wrote that was a little sassy. I am kind of a really nice person, and I don't like in my day-to-day life, I don't really call people out, and I don't really like to talk bad about anyone or any situation. But I felt like, kind of music is the opportunity to like set your mind free. And this kind of just felt like a perfect song to do that. When we were working on the production of the song, it kind of gave that spooky yet still like kind of badass vibe to it. And I felt like these lyrics were perfect for it. And so I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and trying to write something that was pretty sassy and that called the situation out. And I kind of loved doing it, to be honest. It just kind of felt free, and and it felt catchy and snappy, and it felt like it really fit the aesthetic of the album. And that was kind of the gateway to all the other songs in the album, because I felt like this album really is a message of like, it goes through a journey of sassiness, heartbreak, acceptance, and then kind of like a want for revenge. And I felt like that lyric specifically was a lyric I was very proud of. It just felt like a really cool opportunity to use blame in a song, which I never thought I would write. And it kind of just opened the gate for me to continue writing this way.
And now there's no going back, right?
There really isn't. There really isn't. I don't know, something about it. Like it's really cool. Like I have my moments of like, I have my moments of writing slower, more sentimental music, and I love that kind of music. I mean, that's the music I listen to on my day to day when I'm just like driving around or have headphones in. It's the music that I really connect with, besides like my influences. And even growing up, when I was like doing open mics and playing around with music, I never really gravitated towards something that was more upbeat, that was more sassy, that was more revengeful. It was always very solemn and pretty sad. And so to kind of break out of that felt really rewarding. And here we are. I mean, we're going to keep it going.
So next one is Like a Criminal.
Like a criminal. You are in disguise, fitting the mold you hide in to feel alive. So cold to realize you're possessive with your mind, rolling out of sight. Come and do me right, but moving like a criminal. Come into my life, stop reversing time. Just control my mind, they're moving like a criminal. Run, run, run.
And I believe this is what they call the cool kids, of course, call a banger, because like this one is just like immediately I'm like, this is the first song that really stood out to me. It's just like, holy, oh, this is really good. I just kept playing and playing. It's kind of like, this is like it's really good, but it's also like, I think it maybe just over two minutes long, I think, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that bass and guitar riff intro, my God. I mean, that
Thank you
is,
so much.
and then like possessive with your mind, rolling out of sight. I mean, can you talk about something? It's like, this is like this is like Gaga. Like
Wow.
I can like, I'm like this. I mean, in my mind, like this could be like a hit in a dance club on the top 40.
Thank you so much. That's very kind. Yeah, Like a Criminal was the single of the album. It was one of my favorite songs to make. It's really hard to choose a favorite of anything, but it is truly one of my favorite songs that the process was just really, really fun making this song. And it just kind of happened pretty fast. I mean, I think we produced the song and wrote the song in the same day. It just kind of was one of those songs that just wrote itself. That bass line was what we started with, and it was just really fun. And I really wanted to bring a little bit of funk into the album. Like I was saying, like genre blending, just kind of
Oh yeah.
throwing a lot of things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And so we really tried to do a really funky, groovy bass line with this. And the bass line was kind of the foundation of the song, and then everything else kind of just wrote itself on top of the bass line. And it's just one of those songs that I love performing, and I love hearing when it rolls through my playlists. And it's just kind of, yeah, it's just really fun. It's a fun song. It has that edge to it. And And it's also, like you did say, it's also short where it's like it leaves you wanting a little bit more. So you either have the choice to keep going with the album or play it again. And it's just a really fun song that I really wanted to capture a collective feeling with. And so in the bridge, when that chant of
Oh
like a
yeah.
criminal keeps playing, I kind of wanted to bring in that like atmosphere of like a dance floor, so many people around, and you're kind of forgetting the night, and that's what I was trying to capture with that song.
I actually like every now and then, like I do get like I do get a little bit of, like it kind of makes me think of Smooth Criminal a little bit.
That's really cool. Michael Jackson is a cool influence of mine as well,
Oh
and so
yeah.
that's a really cool connection.
And so, you know, with this very kind of, I say, efficient songwriting, like, because I think that is like, it flows really well and nothing here feels throwaway at all. Like, there's no like, oh, that's just an interlude or whatever. That kind of songwriting, is that something you've had to work at yourself?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, when I started writing music when I was in high school, it was pretty bad. I just couldn't, I felt like I had an expectation and a standard that I needed to reach. And it felt like I was trying to reach that by writing something that didn't feel honest and true. It just kind of felt like an assignment of trying to write the best song rather than writing something that I can relate to and something that I'm connecting with. And I noticed that disconnect. I noticed that it didn't feel like it belonged. It felt pretty robotic and it just didn't sound good. And it took me a really long time to let go of that perfectionism and to let go of what I think people are expecting and instead just writing what I'm feeling. And that's something that I chase all the time. I mean, I say it on and on like I'm kind of a broken record of like, I just write how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like that genre blending also kind of plays a role with that is like when I'm in the studio and I'm sitting down, I'm coming in with nothing. And I'm just kind of writing based on whatever I'm feeling that day or whatever I'm feeling that week. And that's really how I feel my music is authentic and true to myself.
So the next one is this for love?
Facing my self-reflection, it's taking my moral compass. Feels like I'm falling in and out of love again. Looking for reassurance, can't tell if I'm self-conscious. Piling up doubt inside my head. Is this for love? Is this for love?
And it's got a acoustic foundation with kind of larger sounds in the background. And it has, I want to say it's a cello that adds like a nice kind of hesitation feel to it. Can you talk about this song?
Yeah. My dream when I was making music was always to have an orchestra or have a quartet or something playing. Um, I'm really in love with that kind of sound, and I feel like it transports you to a different dimension. And so I definitely wanted to include that in the album. And when we were sitting down and planning for the album and just kind of talking a little bit of the logistics, I knew one thing for a fact was I wanted strings in this album. And this song I wrote on a particular day where I was kind of feeling a lot of emotions of um, guilt, a lot of emotions of um, heartbreak, and just the struggles of what love is. And it just kind of feels like a perfect song to kind of be transported. It's a very universal experience, and I wanted to be able to like close my eyes and listen to this song and just kind of not feel like I'm on planet Earth and just be taken to a different atmosphere. And that's what this song is to me. And that's what I feel like the orchestra brought into the song.
Absolutely. And then with Infatuated.
Would you believe me if I said you're the one I've been searching for in my head? If I told you the truth, would you be scared? You're the one that I can never forget. Choosing your words while you kiss me gently. Do you feel hurt? This is how it can be. Would you believe me if I said you're the one I've been searching for in my head? If I told you the truth, would you be scared? You're the one that I can never forget.
It's a bit of a dreamy feel, another acoustic foundation. And what I also realized is that, like, you know, the infatuated is very kind of intense word, but it's against a kind of like opposite production. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I'm glad you noticed that because that was definitely a stylistic choice that I wanted to go for. Especially that song just coming after Is This for Love? I kind of wanted to play a little bit with the dynamics of both songs.
Yeah.
And Infatuated is kind of like that word just standing solely on its own is kind of just like enamored by someone's like the definition to me is just kind of enamored by someone's aura and
Yeah.
just really intrigued by what this person or this item or this thing is. And so I wanted to bring in that like dreamy feel with that like acoustic guitar and that high octave piano and the very simple drum groove. And but I also wanted to play with like the counter feeling of like what infatuation can lead to, which like sometimes infatuation can be unhealthy, sometimes infatuation can lead to questioning whether a relationship is true or questioning a foundation of a relationship. And so that's kind of where the words came into play of like a lot of like hypothetical rhetorical questions of like, would you believe me if I said, you know, you're the one I'm searching for in my head? And just like all of these questionable questions that I'm posing in the song. And so I really like the juxtaposition of like the production versus the lyrical content.
And then so with Am I Worth It?
Am I worth it? Is this what you picture? Influenced and earnest. Do I deserve it? Or is this a plot for revenge? To make me walk on a tight ledge? What did I do to deserve you? Oh, are you hurting? Watch out. Don't let the bugs bite.
Which is also the album title. This one does feel like if there was an interlude, this would be it because just kind of how it feels. But then the is this a plot for revenge line, then has a kind of like calm before the storm morning vibe as well. Can you talk about this song and what made you put it as the album title?
Yeah. So this song is an interlude. That's what I intended this song to be. And starting with just like the song in general is you explained it perfectly. It is kind of like my calm before the storm because the following songs to come after were kind of a little more heavy compared to all the other songs before that. And so I really wanted to play with like dynamics of like intensity starting kind of really intimate where the vocals are like directly where your ears are at, panned completely, where it's very loud, it's very crisp. It's exactly where, it feels like I'm whispering in your ear. And then as the song, like the interlude kind of builds, there's a little bit of that suspense and that mysteriousness and that rolling drum synth. And then the lyrics are kind of leading up to the next song, which is Plot for Revenge, kind of talking about, the want and the need for revenge. And I felt like this was a perfect um, title track for the whole album because I feel like it really encapsulated the feeling and the story of the entire album of like questioning your worth and what what makes you question your worth, which is love, which is strong feelings, which are relationships and situationships and all of these things. And I feel like the album does a really good job of talking about all of those in a lovey-dovey way and also like the revenge way. So it's kind of like you get the polar opposites. And I think that is what happens when you do question your worth is you go through the good times and the bad times. And it just felt really right. And I also thought it was really cool to like put the interlude as the title track too. I feel like I don't really get to see that much in albums that I listen to. And I just felt like it was a really cool like idea of like here is kind of like a spoken word,
Yeah.
poetry style track where it's kind of giving you the quote unquote summary of the album. And so if someone is only going to listen to the title track, they're kind of just going to get an idea of what the album is, and hopefully it intrigues them enough to want to listen to the rest of the album.
And it did, by the way. It
Thank
did.
you.
So with Plot for Revenge,
It's taking you a while to recognize it's me you're looking for. Too bad you lost the prize. Now it's time to say your last goodbyes. Escape the truth. You're twisted around. I want you to feel the pain inside you. Stop acting profound. Careless coated in your devious smile. The plot for revenge, trust in your style. It's taking you a while to recognize it's me you're looking for. Too bad you lost the prize. Now it's time to say your last goodbyes.
and I'm a very visual person, so like I don't know if there's this movie I think with Jennifer Lopez called Enough, where she's
Okay.
kind of like it's kind of like she's getting revenge against someone, but like for me, like I feel like that's kind of like you're enacting your plan, you cut the power, and like the intro is quiet but confident, and the vocals are steady and they're measured but also menacing. I mean, can you talk about the song? Because like it's really good, but
Thank you so much.
it's also like I'm glad I'm on your good side right now.
I'm not scary, I promise. Only through my songs.
Yeah.
Um, this song was the first song where we really truly experimented with um, no structure. And what I mean by that is, especially the ending, the outro of the song, is I really wanted to bring that that fierce vibe, and it kind of leans a little more on the rock end of things.
Mhm.
And it's a genre I'm not that familiar with, but I felt like this would be kind of a perfect time to introduce it. And it just feels grungy and it feels emo and it feels intense. And so I really wanted to play with all of those feelings. And I think all of those feelings start with suspense. And
Mhm.
so the intro of the song, kind of like you said, is starts kind of quiet and is kind of muted, and it's strict on time, and it feels pretty on the dot and straight to the point. And then when the choruses come in, you kind of have that big explosion of power chord guitars and hard hits on the drums, and the vocals kind of take off and the synth takes off, and it just kind of builds that intensity, and then it immediately drops when the second verse comes in. And so kind of playing with that dynamic was something I really wanted to go for. And then the ending of that song was so fun to record. We plugged in my mic into different vocal pedals and just kind
Oh.
of messed around with so many different effects, and just I honestly just put the mic in a corner of a room and stood in the other corner of the room and just started screaming random things, and it just kind of came together. And I feel like that was a perfect like way of doing it, where we used the first take that I did of just like screaming and saying all these random things, and I didn't write it out, and I just kind of let it happen and see what comes out. And I feel like that was perfect, because when you do have like an idea and a plot for revenge, quote unquote, you aren't necessarily thinking rationally, and your mind kind of goes all over the place, and the emotions and the emotions are high and the intensity is high, and kind of building that and using that first take was something really cool and that I felt really proud of.
And then with Can You Hear Me?
Do I have your attention? Are you listening on your expense? You seem unhealthy. Can you restore your precious self? Medicate me. Buried 6 feet underground. Can you see me? Touch me, feel me on solid ground.
A booming, simple intro. Again, fitting so much into so little time, and like all I can say is it's a vibe. That's all I can
Thank
say.
you.
Like, can you talk about this one again? This one as well?
Yeah, this one is just kind of like an extension of Plot for Revenge.
Okay.
But kind of playing a little bit into like the club anthem of the album, I would say, is just kind of like playing a little bit with like the EDM feeling and the EDM sound of the drum machine. And just kind of I felt like I had a lot more to say that I didn't have the time to say in Plot for Revenge, and just kind of really putting the nail in the coffin with this song. And so the lyrics kind of follow that idea of like the plot for revenge, and how someone could feel worthless in a
Yeah.
moment when the title of the EP is Am I Worth It? Just kind of playing with the feeling of worthlessness, and then you have the feeling of being worthy in different songs, but just kind of playing with the complexities of those two.
And then with Poisoning You.
I've seen your face. Better walk on by, save your fake embrace. Trying to talk your game, you've been replaced.
Like arena rock type drums and that guitar intro. Then it switches up when the verse starts. It's kind of like this energy of like coming out on the other side of something. And I can almost like see you smile as you sing or rap whatever you're doing for this verse. It's like a new pep in your step. You know, the thought of you with someone else has lost its hold. I mean, so it kind of like seems like a more of like a you are on that other side and looking back. Can you talk about this one?
Yeah, 100%. You nailed it. I mean, you're taking all the words out of my mouth. This one is this track. You know, it's almost the end of the album here, and I wanted to have that like arc where it's like I'm finally understanding my worth, and I'm finally understanding how toxic the relationship was, and how it wasn't meant for me, and it wasn't meant for the goodness of my heart, I guess, and just kind of playing with the idea of like laying it to rest in quotations, of like laying the memories, laying the feeling to rest, and that's my way of doing that with the words poison in you. Is you're just kind of painting the vision of this person and then tucking it away and chucking it out of the window kind of feeling.
And then the closer for It Gets Easier.
I know that you've been hurting. Wanted to tell you it gets easier. I would be caught lying. Wish I could hold you, give you everything you need. Your heart is barely beating, the weight is crashing slowly. It's harder to breathe. This feeling's getting heavy. You're pushing through on empty. It's temporary.
It's a soft closer, and then, you know, to me it really feels like you're singing to the person at the beginning of the album. And like the strings, the piano, the filtered voice makes it really work well together. And that guitar solo and the string closer is a perfect touch. I really like that, how it closed out like
Thank
that.
you.
And I know there's something I just like about like a soft close that just kind of like puts a little kind of like nice pin in it or whatever. Like can you talk about this song, and was it always the closer for you?
Yeah, this song is my favorite song off the album. I know I earlier said that I can't choose, and it is really hard to choose, but this song just like means a lot to me. This song was a letter to me and to the whole, like, you know, the whole feeling of and situation that I was writing about. And I really like how I played with both perspectives. And it was really kind of, like you said, it's like the cherry on top of telling myself that I am worth it. It's answering the question of the album, because the album is called Am I Worth It? With a question mark, because it is something that I want you to ponder on while listening to the album. And I kind of just wanted to explain the sentiment of things go wrong, things happen, life can get really hard, but it does get easier. And no pun intended with that. It does get easier. And then kind of having that lift off with the orchestra, the lift off with the guitar solo at the end, and kind of feeling the arc and the complete circle of the experience from top to bottom of I want to win you over, and then I'm ending with it gets easier. It's kind of one big story coming together. And when we were working on the album, I definitely had this song in mind for it to be the closer. I knew when I started writing this song it just was the message, the last message I wanted to leave people with. And so I think halfway through the song, I looked at Naveed and I was like, this is going to be the closer. It just feels right. It feels like everything I want to say if I had only the two, however long the song is, to say it. And it just felt right.
So, I mean, when you look back at this record, it's been out for a bit now. What are your thoughts now versus when it was released?
I'm so proud of myself for this album. I mean, it's the first time I ever worked on an album. It's the first time Naveed has ever worked on an album. And as a little kid that always loved music, I never thought I would ever release a full album. I just didn't think it was attainable, didn't think I could possibly do it. And it was pretty daunting at first before we started working on it when I had the idea to work on an album. And when I sat down and I was like, okay, I want a 10-track album. I want it to be this long. And this is something that means a lot to me. I was really scared to work on it because failure was in my mind for sure. I mean, it's something that is really hard to do and it took a lot of time and it took so many hours and and it really took an open heart and vulnerability as well. But once we started working on it, it felt so right. It felt so rewarding even through the process. But after releasing it, and now it's been a couple months, and it just feels like a perfect project for the perfect time. And it was everything I wanted to say. And it felt so honest to myself. And I felt like I wasn't trying to follow an image or answer the people's wishes. It's just exactly what I wanted to do. And I put it out, and I'm still so proud of it.
Are there any songs on there that because you mentioned it gets easier, that you're particularly proud of how they came out?
Definitely it gets easier. And then really, really, really proud of Irrelevant too. I mean, that was like I was mentioning earlier, it was like the first song that was really out of my comfort zone, just something I didn't know I was capable of doing or didn't know if I actually liked either. And it was just a really fun creative process. And immediately like hooked, and I think we were in the studio for like 14 hours straight working on the song because we just didn't want to stop. We were having such a good time making the song, and I just was so proud of how it turned out. And it's just one of those songs that it's really hard not to like move your body to. And like I can't listen to that song or sing that song standing still. Like you got to move around. Like it's so easy to move to. And so that's another song I'm really proud of. I mean, I'm proud of the whole
Mhm.
project, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
really hard to say I'm not proud of a single song because I wouldn't have put it on there if I wasn't proud of
Yeah.
it.
What has the fan response been like so far to the record?
The fan response has been unbelievable. I mean, I'm so extremely grateful for all the responses, all the messages, all the streams. It's been really, really cool to see. I was definitely like a little nervous when I announced the project because, like you did say, like it's pretty different from the EP Bittersweet. And so I was curious of what the response was going to be. But people continue to love it. People continue to listen to it, and I continuously get praise on it. And I'm so, so grateful for it all. And then when I do play live in town, people just love the music. I see people swaying in the audience, I see people singing along, and it's so awesome to see.
So you also just released another project called
Yes.
Fragile Feeling. And this is more a delicate one. I would say that like I'll listen to it. It's like this kind of feels like reminds me a little bit of Billie Eilish a little bit.
Mm,
And so because it's kind of also feels like it's like almost like one piece of music in four parts.
yeah.
So the EP is called Fragile Feeling. Can you talk about how this one started for you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in my early 20s and there's a lot going on in the world right now. And I felt pretty isolated and I felt very boxed in. And I just wanted to create a project that really just spoke my truth and spoke how I was feeling and having that release. I felt like I really needed a release and
Hmm.
this project was my release. I mean, I believe this is the most raw storytelling that I've done so far. I'm so proud of this project. And it's just everything I wanted to say, and it's everything I still want to say. And um, I'm just so proud of it. And so coming into working on a project, I didn't necessarily like have a like vision or a theme or how long I wanted a project to be. I just knew I was writing so much at the time and I just felt like I had so much to say. And so I sat down and and just played my guitar and wrote a couple verses for a few of these songs, and then they just felt like they all worked together. And I was like, this would be a perfect opportunity to do an EP with these four songs and name it Fragile Feeling because it really just encapsulates fragile feelings. I mean,
Hmm.
it's all the feelings that I'm feeling. I feel like it's all the feelings that a lot of people are feeling right now, with just the state of our world
Oh
and
yeah.
just the state of everything that's going on right now. And so I just felt like this was like my love letter to the people, and it was also my um my moment of calling out people who aren't like awake
Hmm.
and just putting it all out there.
Yeah. So the first track song is Pathetic.
You won't see it or feel it, bathed in privilege. You're pathetic.
And it's kind of like a hollow, dark, atmospheric intro. I feel like I hear like kind of like echoes in the background, almost like you're recalling like a memory or like watching an old home movie or something like that. And then like I mean lines like world of favor full of favors blurred by words, and then like the one that hits the most is bathed in privilege, you're pathetic, which I almost had to laugh at a little bit because it is true a lot of times. And
Mhm.
then the vocals, your vocals work really well with piano.
Thank you so much.
Can you talk about this song?
Yeah. This song was kind of a last minute addition to the
Okay.
EP. Um, I was um, working on the project and um, all the protests in
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis really, really inspired me. Um, and just seeing so many people coming together in Minneapolis and just like nationwide too, but
Yep.
specifically in Minneapolis, because I'm here and I'm seeing it and I'm witnessing it as a person of color.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Seeing everybody come together was really empowering. And still seeing the people who were sitting back and still trying to defend injustice was really crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is a really emotional time, and I wanted to be able to express that in song, I guess. And so Pathetic was that song for me. It just kind of was a honestly just a letter to call people out. I mean, it's saying how it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's calling privileged people privileged.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's kind of like a wake-up call, my hope,
Mm-hmm.
for people who have second guess things or people that are contemplative.
Yeah.
And it just felt really true and it felt right to include in this EP. And it just felt like a really good opening track, too. I know it was a last minute addition, but it felt like it was a perfect way to open the EP because I wanted to kind of like have a message, which the bathed in privilege, you're
Mm-hmm.
pathetic is towards the end of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the punchline of the
Yeah.
song. And I wanted people after listening to that song knowing how intense the rest of the EP is going to be and how we're going to say it how it is kind of thing. And so it just felt right.
So, you know, with the kind of message this song has, I almost feel like there's another version that could be very kind of almost punk rocky.
Mm.
Was this always the version that came out on the record?
Yeah, it was. This EP specifically was a little bit different from my typical creative process. I
Okay.
usually go into the studio with nothing.
Okay.
Um, but I felt like I was very like enraged by just like what's happening in our world and also just like being young and being in my 20s and feeling a lot of emotions
Mm-hmm.
and I just had so much to say and it was just a lot of late night writing. Like I mean, I was just sitting in my bed with my guitar, strumming some chords and coming up with these words and it a lot of these songs were just kind of 5 minute right like 5 minute rights pretty much and because it just kind of poured out and uh I didn't want to overly produce it because they're so raw and I wanted it to be that way. I wanted people to listen to the words and be immersed and fully float
Mm-hmm.
and have that heavenly feeling rather than getting lost in production.
Mm-hmm. And then, and I always say that because I have a big soft spot for like ballads too. And so like when a song is quieter, that like you can almost like feel like the intention of the words more a lot of times as well.
Yeah.
So then there's Pessimist.
A fragile tool in eagle blues. Long for you. I hoped you'd be the one who sees me through. You really can't resist acting like a pessimist. It all comes to an end. All I see is judgment. Remember me. I can't be the worst that you've ever seen.
It's got a kind of slow, low guitar intro sound. There's some soft harmonies that I think add a nice gentle layer as well. To me, it kind of seems like maybe like it's about like a relationship that's not working out. You like a line, you make me out as a savior, just an excuse for your failures. You really can't resist acting like a pessimist. I really like that steady kick drum too. It kind of and it builds to the full band climax. Can you talk about this one?
Yeah, Pessimist was the single of this EP. And it was also one of the other call out tracks of like I had a lot of feelings of like I was experiencing a lot of like just pressure in my own life
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to translate that into something that people can relate to and just kind of talk about my experience with pressure coming from a person. And so it's just kind of following the theme of like a savior complex and the dynamics of what that means and how that can affect you. And I feel like the words really went hand in hand with the production as well, of like it did start out really slow and really dark and haunting. And then the intensity kind of kicked in of like my realization of like how bad a savior complex can be. And then that big release at the end when it kind of just gets pretty big and pretty loud, and that's kind of like the moment of release and realization that this is so bad and I'm free now. And so even with the vocals, I'm kind of like holding this long O, and the song also just fizzles out where like the guitars are having a lot of feedback and everything kind of just fizzles out in a imperfect way. And I feel like the message was clear with that.
And then so for Pray It'll Go Away.
You showed me the universe, haunted the way I look at you, caught in your twisted mind, hoping one day I'd call you mine. I've been having dreams, you are all I see.
One thing to notice was that your vocals in this one are actually a higher register as well, which I noticed. And the song title, like it's at the very end, but it's a little muffled at first, but you can hear it if you really listen. And to me, it kind of sounds like it's like almost like you're losing sanity over someone. Like the line, "I've been having dreams, you're all I see." Can you talk about this one?
Yeah. I'm glad you noticed the higher register. That was very much out of my comfort zone. I typically like sing in my lower register, and this one was a really hard song to um like fully feel like it was gonna work just because of the register. I mean, it was like pretty difficult to get behind, but I just loved the content of the song and I loved the song itself, and it just felt right to do it in this register. And so I kind of like trained my brain to kind of step out of that like perfectionism mindset that we were talking about, and really just let it happen the way it is. And you did nail it with the theme once again of like, this is just kind of like the realization of how like someone can be so consuming to the mind. And it's really hard to let that go when you are like really invested in someone, but you know it's the right move, and you know there's going to be repercussions of it, but you should do it. And so kind of having that like floaty state once again, like in the album of Am I Worth It? Infatuated, playing with that like floaty sound of like love, it's all lovey-dovey, floaty, floaty, like you feel like you're on another planet, but taking the content with the lyrics being like, oh my God, get out of my head, like this is too much, like I love you, but I don't want to love you, and I want it to go away, and all of these things. And so that's where the song was born.
And then with the finale, The Sun.
was once mine. Two fingers intertwined, innocence stripped from her eyes. I looked at you like the sun, shining down on everyone. All we said was we were young. Oh, time slips away.
The piano key intro really has this kind of finale feel to it. Line, I looked at you like the sun, shining down on everyone. Kind of like almost like an aftermath song type too. I think it's time to say goodbye. And then when the full band kicks in, it's like this kind of like this finale feel of like finally let it go in something. Can you talk about this song? Because it really does. I really like songs that have like this, like where it's like you can tell that this could be like the closer of a show in a sense.
Yeah, this is my favorite song off of the EP. It looks like there is a theme here where it's like the last song of every project is my favorite song of the EP. Yeah, this song is honestly, it might be my favorite song I've ever written. It just is it feels so good. The song just feels so good. I mean, it's kind of like the looking over the horizon
Okay.
of like, which no pun intended once again, because the sun. But it is really like looking over the horizon of like, you were this person that I saw in such a big light. Once again, no pun intended. Saw in such a big light, and I now understand that like you are not everything. You don't determine my value. You don't determine my happiness. And it's kind of the reflective feeling of like, I looked at you like the sun. You shine down on everyone. You were so good around everyone. But sometimes you can't hang on to that feeling. And so that's where like the time slips away part comes. And then that big release for the post choruses is once again kind of letting that go, letting the thought and the way you thought of this person go and what you envisioned go, because that's life. I mean, things come and go and people come and go, and you know, you have to move on, and you can carry little memories with you, but you can't have like this chokehold over you. And so that's where that like big release comes in every time. And I don't know, I just think this song has such a like cinematic big feeling to it, and it kind of just feels like a big arc, and in itself, like it's a big full circle as a song. It starts so soft with the piano, and then you can hear little guitar slides throughout, and then that post chorus just hits you like a truck, and then it just sucks you back in. And then the ending of the song with that guitar solo, it just kind of takes you. It takes you far. It makes you think, and it's just kind of one of those moments where you're very reflective. And I wanted people to walk away reflecting with this EP. It's like there's so many complicated feelings that I talked about throughout the EP, and this was a perfect way for me to end it and have people ponder on their feelings and their thoughts afterwards.
Because these songs were really, like I said, kind of more of you, trying to need to kind of get some feelings out. Once this thing was released into the world, like, did you feel those? Did you feel any kind of like weight out of your shoulders because you have essentially kind of released it in songwriting, or how do you feel about these feelings and these songs now?
Yeah, big time. I mean, I've kind of bottled a lot of these feelings in, and putting it out there was scary because it's very vulnerable, but I feel like it was very needed. Like I had my release, like this was my release, and it felt really good. And then playing these songs live feel even better, of like feeling the music, feeling the bass in my soul, and singing it to people and seeing people's faces, and having that one-on-one connection with people in the audience when I'm looking around, and really feeling like I'm doing something that means something,
Mhm.
as vague as that sounds, but it's like I'm putting my little stamp and trying to express my feelings, and trying to tell people that they're not alone through this.
With this, I mean, record, was the sequencing easier in this one because there's just four songs?
Yeah, I think it was easier, and not necessarily because there were only four songs, but I just think story-wise, like the
Mm,
storyline, it flowed a lot easier because it was just kind of all the same topic, just kind of an extension of one another. Um, it, like you said, it could be just like one 12-minute song,
mhm.
but it was just broken up. But they all kind of go hand in hand. And uh, production wise, too, is I really wanted to start really small and end really small as well, where I start it with like this small, then big
Mm,
growth. It's this big, like weird, like floaty atmosphere where you have no idea what's happening, and there's children laughing, and there's
mhm.
ambulances, and then it kind of drops down completely to just keys, and then the whole um, project ends. The sun ends with just keys and a little slide guitar, and so it just kind of felt like it flowed very well, and so the sequencing was a lot simpler for this one.
In terms of recording for this current one and then for Am I Worth It, was it you and your producer who played all the instruments, or did you guys have other musicians coming in as well?
We played everything for all the songs, which was really cool. Um, except for Fragile Feeling, Parade'll Go Away. I really wanted to bring my love for, orchestra and wind instruments and all of that. So we brought in a saxophone player, and he played all of the sax
Mm,
breaks in that song specifically, which was really beautiful and magical. And we felt like we couldn't really, like, it just didn't feel right to emulate that sound with like a synth or like a keyboard. And it just felt like, because all of these feelings were so authentic, we needed to bring the authentic true sax to the table.
that was on Pray to Go Away, correct?
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
because I had it in my notes, but I couldn't read my writing for a second. So like
You're
at first I'm like,
good.
does that say six pack? No, that can't be right. But yeah, no, that sax part was really good on that.
Really,
Um,
thank you.
and then so I know it just came out, but I mean, what's the response been like so far from everyone?
The response has been super, super great. Yeah, I mean, this project is really fresh, but it's been really, really incredible to see people so responsive towards it, and sharing their personal experiences with me. I've had a lot of people after shows coming up to me and thanking me and telling me that they're going through something similar, or
Hmm.
they're feeling similar feelings, and that just feels really good to hear, because that's how I am with artists that I love. When I'm listening to music, it's really cool to know that like I'm not alone through it. And so to hear it, and to see the rewarding like factor after the fact of releasing the project, and seeing people's reactions and hearing people's reactions is really, really cool.
You talk about how, you really kind of don't want to, go by a specific genre, and then in reality, like it's all just sounds, right? Like it's all
Yeah.
just matter if they work together. So do you can you see right now where you see your songwriting taking you now, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, it's really difficult because once again, I kind of just write on based on how I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really predict how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's like really important for me to chase. I don't like the idea of like planning like putting like restrictions on
Yeah.
like what the theme is and what I have to write. I just like to write.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's maybe it's unconventional where it's like maybe the correct strategy is to sit down and have a theme and kind of plot things out and plan it. But it just doesn't feel true to me to do that right
Mm-hmm.
now. And I I mean like I find so much joy as well of just like kind of going in
Mm-hmm.
blindly and not knowing like what I'm gonna walk out with after a studio session. And so we'll find out. But all I know is that, this is just the beginning for Clover's Daughter. There's so much music. There's so much I have to share. There's so much I want to share. And I'm going to do a lot of things that I'm really excited about. And it's just a journey that I really hope people take with me.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I always think is that with independent music, the money's not there, but that also means like you can do whatever you want. There's no rules.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful that I am an independent artist. Obviously, it would be really nice to have some funding, but besides that, it's like I am my own boss. I am my own creator and I do everything myself. So, I book all the shows and I make all the music with my co-creator Naveed, and I have all the, creative visions and the visuals, and I do all my social media and my merch, and just I do everything from top to bottom. And so I really have full autonomy over my art, and I can make my own decisions with no pressure and no quote unquote right thing to do. It's just how I want to do it. And that might not be the smartest move every single time, but it's what I want to honor right now as a small artist.
So in terms of 2026 and shows and everything, like what's next for Clover's
Yeah,
Daughter?
just playing so many shows. I have a lot of shows coming up, and I just have a really busy year that I'm really excited for. I'm playing a lot here in the Twin Cities, and then I have some special announcements coming up soon here that I can't share quite yet, but I'm very excited for. Um, I am doing a live session of the EP as well, so
Hmm.
there's going to be a live version of the EP, which I'm really excited for, and just a lot of new music as well. I mean, I'm working on music consistently, and I don't really believe in the let's wait a year or two to release music. I mean, within the 1 year that I started my project, I released two EPs and a full album.
Yeah.
And so there's no shortage of music. It's going to keep coming. And yeah, I'm just really excited for everything I have planned. There's a lot that is coming up soon.
And where can people find you on socials?
Yeah, Clover's Daughter on anything. I use Instagram the most. That's kind of where you can find my latest. You can also go on cloversdaughter.com and sign up for my mailing list. I have a weekly letter that I handwrite and I take a picture of, and I put it up, and it sends to your email with like all the latest news and exclusive listens and latest merch drops and exclusive offerings for the fans. And then any platform to listen to my music. My music's out everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Deezer, Tidal, wherever you listen to your music. It's just Clover's Daughter.
And two final questions. First one is, what is one thing you would do to immediately help the local music scene?
I love doing benefit shows. I mean, I think that's like so important. I have a benefit show coming up on April 30th at the Turf Club. I'm headlining that show. I think it's like really important to like um do things for the community as well. Like it's not always just about like promoting yourself and doing a show for yourself. It's really important to like just be immersed in the community and listen to what the community needs.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important to do.
And then this could be the hardest one. 3 local bands everyone should check out.
This is very difficult because I love like all the local bands in town. There's really, really cool bands in town, but I think if I had to choose three, it would be Matcha Fever.
Oh,
They're a really cool band. Love them. Good friends of mine. Really awesome music.
oh God, yeah.
Really like Prince inspired. Just really, really good vibe. Mike Coda, she is a really, really incredible artist. Really haunting voice in all the best ways. Just really, yeah, just really inspirational. And then Callback, really, really cool local band as well. Kind of that pop alternative sound. I've played a couple shows with them now already, and we have a show coming up on April 16th at Zora Darling, and they're just really, really awesome people and just a really fun energy live and fun energy through their music and the recorded sound as well.
Well, Clover's daughter, thank you for doing this. This has been I'm so glad we could finally get a chance to connect and talk here. You're
Thank you so much for having me.
and this is like you're definitely like to me you're one of those artists where it's like I'm always excited when I hear that you got something new coming out because like I don't know what's gonna be and I like that. Like I know like I trust you. So thank you again. I hope to finally see you at a show here soon. And
Thank you so much.
have a good rest of your night.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Like a criminal.
And that's it for this episode of the Melodic Noise Insider Podcast. I want to thank Clover's daughter again for her time. Her full-length debut, Am I Worth It? And the Fragile Feeling EP are available now. This episode was edited by me, and I also want to thank our producer Paul Thorson and editor-in-chief Andrew Parizo. Be sure to follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Just type in Melodic Noise Media and you should find us. You can also join our Patreon and help keep the ship afloat. We should be adding some new content soon. You can find me mainly on Instagram at AndySmileyJ. Thank you for listening, and until next time, I'm Andy Ellis. We're also very aware of the struggles that have been going on in the community, so stay safe, support your community, and support local music. Take care, everyone.
Take a break. Save your dignity. Am I speaking fluent?